I stood in my driveway, staring at the U-Haul truck that definitely wasn't supposed to be there. My sister Talia was directing two guys carrying a queen-size mattress toward what was supposed to be my rental unit. The same unit my tenant Everett had only vacated 3 days ago. "What's going on?" I asked, even though I already knew. I'm Stella, and at 32 I thought I'd finally established some boundaries with my family. Clearly, I was wrong. "Oh, hey sis!" Talia's face lit up with that magnetic smile that always got her whatever she wanted. "Remember how we talked about me staying here for a few weeks after Brad and I split? Well, I found this amazing deal on Facebook Marketplace, and I couldn't pass it up." I watched, speechless, as more furniture appeared from the truck. A sectional sofa, a coffee table, 2 dressers. This wasn't crashing for a few weeks' furniture. "We didn't discuss any furniture," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You said you needed a place to sleep while you figured things out." Talia waved her hand dismissively. "I can't sleep on the floor, Stella. Don't be ridiculous." She turned to the movers. "The bedroom's through there, guys." I'd spent 5 years saving for this duplex. 5 years of overtime shifts at the accounting firm, cooking at home, and saying no to vacations. When I finally bought it, I renovated both units myself, spending weekends painting and updating fixtures until my fingers were raw. "Talia, wait!" I called after her as she bounced up the stairs. "We need to talk about expectations and rent." She spun around, her perfectly styled hair swishing. "Rent? Are you serious? Mum said you wouldn't charge me rent. I just lost half my savings in the breakup." "Mum doesn't own this building," I said firmly. I do." "Speaking of Mum," Talia's phone chirped and her face brightened. "She's bringing over some houseplants to liven up the place. And Dad's coming with his tools to mount my TV." My stomach dropped. "You told them to come over today?" "Of course. They're so excited I'm living closer to them now." She emphasized the word living in a way that made my skin crawl. Before I could respond, our mother's SUV pulled up, loaded with what looked like an entire garden centre. Dad's truck wasn't far behind. "Stella, honey," Mum called out, already unloading pots. "Come help us bring these in. I got some for your unit too. This place could use more life." I watched as my carefully maintained property transformed into a family project. Dad was measuring walls, Mum was arranging plants, and Talia was directing traffic like she owned the place. My place. "We need to set some ground rules," I tried again, following Talia into what was rapidly becoming her bedroom. "This is temporary, right?" "Of course," she said, not meeting my eyes. "Just until I get back on my feet. You know how hard it is out there right now." "And how long will that be?" "Don't be such a buzzkill, Stella," she sighed. "We're sisters. This is what family does." "Stella," Mum's voice carried from the living room, "where do you keep your spare keys? Talia needs a set." I closed my eyes, counting to 10. "There aren't any spare keys, Mum. I'll have to get them made." "Well, do it today," she insisted. "Talia needs to be able to come and go." By sunset, my sister's unit looked like she'd lived there for years. Mum had arranged for a grocery delivery. Dad had mounted not just the TV, but also several floating shelves. And Talia had transformed the spare room into a home office. Apparently, she'd also brought her work from home setup. Standing in my own unit that evening, I could hear them all laughing upstairs, probably sharing takeout and congratulating themselves on such a smooth move. My phone buzzed with a text from Talia. "Thanks again, sis. You're literally saving my life. Promise I'll be the best tenant ever." I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled out the property folder from my desk, the one containing 5 years of careful planning, budgeting, and dreams of financial independence. Somewhere in there was the original offer letter from Logan, a developer who'd wanted to buy the place last year. I'd turned him down flat then. Now, watching another moving truck pull up outside, this one carrying what looked like Talia's patio furniture, I wondered if I should have kept his number. 3 weeks into Talia's temporary stay, I woke at 2 a.m. to bass-heavy music vibrating through my ceiling. Again. Voices and laughter filtered down, along with the distinct sound of high heels on hardwood floors. My carefully restored hardwood floors. I grabbed my phone and texted Talia, "People are trying to sleep. Please keep it down." 3 dots appeared then. "It's Friday night. Stop being such a grandma." I pulled on my robe and headed upstairs. Before I could knock, the door swung open and a guy I didn't know nearly crashed into me on his way to smoke outside. "Stella!" Talia appeared in the doorway, wine glass in hand. "Come join us. We're celebrating Melissa's promotion." Behind her, at least 15 people crowded my rental unit. Someone had pushed all the furniture against the walls to create a dance floor. Red wine glasses balanced precariously on my windowsills. "This isn't a party venue," I said. "You need to end this now." "God, you're such a buzzkill." Talia rolled her eyes. "I live here too, you know." "Actually, we haven't even discussed a lease yet. You're technically not a tenant." "Whatever," Mum said. "Mum doesn't own this building." The music suddenly cut out. Everyone was staring at us. "Fine," Talia snapped. "Party's over, everyone. My sister's having one of her control freak moments." As people filed out, I noticed water rings on the wood surfaces and what looked like a wine stain on the carpet. My phone buzzed. A text from Everett, my former tenant. "Hey, Stella, sorry to bother you so late. Just wanted to let you know I'm breaking my lease early. Already found a new place. The environment has become uncomfortable. I'll be out by the end of the month." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Everett had been the perfect tenant for 3 years. His rent helped cover my mortgage. The next morning, I cornered Talia in the shared laundry room. "We need to talk about last night." "I already apologized," she said, not looking up from her phone. "No, you didn't actually. And now I'm losing my other tenant because of these parties." "Good. Now you can let Jenny move in. She's looking for a place, and it'll be so fun having my best friend next door." "That's not happening," I said firmly, "and we need to discuss your rental agreement." Talia's phone chimed. Her face lit up. "Oh, Mum and Dad are here." "What? Why?" "They're helping me pick paint colours. The beige in my living room is so depressing." I followed her outside where our parents were already unloading paint swatches from Mum's car. "You can't paint the unit without permission," I said. "And you're parked in the tenant spot again, Mum." "Don't be ridiculous, honey." Mum waved me off. "Where else would I park when I visit my daughters?" "The street? Like everyone else has to?" "Stella," Dad's voice had that warning tone I remembered from childhood. "Your mother isn't everyone else. This is family." I watched them parade upstairs with their paint samples and interior design ideas. Through the window, I could see them gesturing at walls, planning changes to my property like I wasn't even there. That evening, my friend Phoebe came over to hear me vent. "You need to evict her," she said bluntly, pouring more wine. "I can't. My parents would never forgive me. They're walking all over you. Yesterday, Talia posted on Instagram about her new apartment. She's even tagged herself as living here permanently." My phone buzzed, a text from Mum. "Dinner at our house tomorrow night. Non-negotiable. We need to discuss some changes to the building. Your father has some wonderful ideas for updating Talia's kitchen." "Talia's kitchen?" Phoebe read over my shoulder. "Girl, they're not even pretending anymore. They're stealing your property in broad daylight." I walked to my window and looked out at the building I'd worked so hard to own. Mum's car was still in the tenant spot, now with a small dent in the door that definitely hadn't been there before. Music started thumping from upstairs, not as loud as last night, but a clear message that Talia had no intention of changing her behaviour. I opened my desk drawer and pulled out Logan's business card. He'd said something last year about the property being perfect for his boutique apartment development project. At the time, I'd been offended at the suggestion of selling. Now, watching another of Talia's friends pull up outside, I picked up my phone and started dialing. The moment I walked into my parents' house for dinner, I knew something was wrong. The dining room table was set with Mum's good china, the set she only used for important family discussions. Talia was already seated, looking smug. "Stella, honey," Mum bustled out of the kitchen. "Perfect timing. I made your favourite lasagna." "Thanks," I said cautiously, taking my usual seat. "What's the occasion? Can't a mother cook for her daughters?" She placed the steaming dish on the table. "Your father will be down in a minute. He's just finishing some calculations." Calculations. My stomach tightened. Dad appeared with a yellow legal pad covered in numbers. "Ah, good. We're all here." He sat down heavily at the head of the table. "Let's eat while we talk." Mum served generous portions while making small talk about her garden club. Talia texted under the table, barely concealing her smile. I pushed my food around my plate, waiting for the other shoe to drop. "So," Dad cleared his throat, "we've been thinking about the building situation." There it was. "What building situation?" I asked, though I already knew. "Well," Mum jumped in, "now that Talia's settled in, we should discuss making it official. Your father and I have worked out the numbers." "Official?" My voice sounded distant to my own ears. "We're thinking you should sell Talia her unit," Dad said, consulting his notepad. "We can handle the down payment, and she can take over the mortgage payments for that portion." I set my fork down. "The building isn't divided into separate units for sale. It's my property. One property." "Don't be difficult, Stella," Mum sighed. "We can handle the legal details. Your father's golf buddy is a real estate attorney." "I'm not selling anything," I said firmly, "and Talia hasn't even signed a lease yet." Talia finally looked up from her phone. "I don't need a lease. I'm family." "Exactly," Mum beamed. "And family takes care of each other. You don't need the rental income. You have your accounting job. But Talia needs a stable home after everything she's been through with Brad." Everything she's been through? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She cheated on him with his business partner. That's not important right now. Dad waved his hand dismissively. What's important is securing Talia's future. We've already looked into contractors for the renovations she wants. "Renovations?" I choked on my water. "You can't be serious." "Just a few updates," Talia chimed in. "New kitchen cabinets, maybe knock down a wall or two to open up the space." "Absolutely not." I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. "This is insane. You're all acting like my property is suddenly community property." "Sit down, Stella." Mum's voice turned sharp. "Frankly, we thought this was already decided. Why else would you let your sister move in?" "Because she needed temporary help, not a free house." "No one's asking for anything free." Dad consulted his notes again. "We're offering fair market value for half the building." "Half of my building," I corrected him. "The building I saved for. The building I renovated myself while Talia was posting Instagram stories from Cancun with Brad's credit card." "That's not fair," Talia protested. "Just because you chose to waste your 20s being boring." "Boring? I was building something for myself." "Girls," Mum interrupted, "this isn't productive. Stella, we're trying to help you both. This way, you'll each have security." "I already have security. I have a building that I own outright." Dad sighed heavily. "Don't make this difficult. We've already discussed it with the contractor. He can start next month." "You what?" The room started spinning. "You scheduled renovations for a property you don't own?" "Well," Mom smiled tightly, "we assumed you'd want what's best for your sister." I grabbed my purse and stood up again. "This dinner is over." Stella, Dad's voice held a warning. If you walk out now, you'll what? Take away my inheritance. Good luck finding something you haven't already promised to Talia. I headed for the door, my hand shaking. Behind me, I could hear Mom starting to cry and Talia making exaggerated soothing noises. Don't expect us to help when you end up alone, Mum called after me. All you care about is money. I slammed the door behind me and sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. My phone started buzzing with texts. Mum, you're being very selfish right now. Talia, thanks for ruining dinner. Again. Dad, call your mother when you're ready to be reasonable. I turned my phone off and started driving. Instead of heading home, I found myself pulling into a downtown parking garage. Logan's office was just around the corner. He'd said to call first, but this couldn't wait. It was time to end this. Logan's office was closed, but through the glass doors, I could see light spilling from under his private office door. I pressed the intercom. We're closed, a tired voice answered. It's Stella, from the Harrison Street duplex. A pause, then a buzz. The door unlocked. Logan met me in the lobby, jacket off, sleeves rolled up. He looked exactly as he had a year ago when he'd first offered to buy my building. Calm, collected, and slightly amused. Let me guess, he said, leading me to his office. You're ready to sell. I sank into the chair across from his desk. Is your offer still good? Actually, he pulled up something on his computer. I'd be willing to offer more. That area's gotten hotter in the last year. We're developing the whole block now. My phone buzzed again. I pulled it out to silence it and saw 3 missed calls from Mum, plus a text from Talia. The contractor needs to measure my bathroom tomorrow. Let him in if I'm not home. I turned the phone off completely. Your original offer, I said to Logan. What exactly were you planning to do with the property? He turned his monitor so I could see the renderings. Boutique apartments, high-end finishes, proper soundproofing, dedicated parking. The whole block's getting a facelift. Soundproofing sounds nice, I muttered. Trouble with neighbours? You could say that. I told him about Talia, the parties, the family dinner. By the end, he was shaking his head. Family's complicated, he said diplomatically. But business doesn't have to be. I can have paperwork ready by tomorrow. Full, cash offer, quick close. How quick? 2 weeks, maybe less. My lawyers are efficient. I leaned forward. And after it's sold? What's the timeline for changes? 30 days notice to any current tenants, then demolition starts immediately. We're on a schedule with the rest of the block. Perfect. One condition, I said. Nobody knows until it's done. Not the sale, not the development plans, nothing. Logan studied me for a moment, then nodded. We can keep it quiet. But you'll need to maintain normalcy. Any suspicious behaviour could tip them off. I can do normal, I said. I'm good at being boring, apparently. Back home, Talia's lights were still on, music playing softly. Mum's car was in the tenant spot again. I walked past it into my unit and opened my laptop. A message from Phoebe was waiting. How was dinner? I called her instead of typing. They want her to own half the building, I said when she answered. They're already planning renovations. Tell me you're not considering it. No, I just left Logan's office. I'm selling the whole thing. Silence then. Holy shit, you're really doing it. They want to take my building? Fine, but they don't get to keep it. What about Talia? Where will she go? As if on cue, footsteps sounded above me, followed by furniture dragging. Probably redecorating again. Not my problem anymore. The next morning, I acted normal. Waved to Talia as she left for work. Smiled at Mum when she dropped off more houseplants. Even helped Dad carry in some renovation magazines. See? Mum beamed. This is much better. We're all working together. I nodded and excused myself for a work call, actually Logan's lawyer with preliminary paperwork. That evening, Talia hosted another party. Smaller this time, but still noisy. I didn't complain. Let her enjoy it while she could. My phone buzzed with a text from Logan. "Papers ready? Meeting tomorrow at 10?" I replied, "See you then." Another text arrived, this one from Talia. "The contractor's coming at 9 a.m. to check the plumbing. Let him in if I'm not up yet." I smiled at my phone. By 9 a.m. tomorrow, I'd be signing away their renovation dreams. Phoebe called just before midnight. "Are you sure about this? It's pretty nuclear." I watched another of Talia's friends pull into my spot, music blaring. Through my window, I could see Mum's car still parked where it didn't belong, now taking up 2 spaces. "They thought I was a pushover," I said. "They thought they could just take what I built because we're family." Well, family works both ways. And sometimes family needs a hard lesson about consequences. What will you do after? I'd already found a luxury condo downtown, walking distance to my office. The sale price would cover it easily, with plenty left over. "I'm going to live my life," I said, "without anyone else's name on my deed." Upstairs, something crashed, followed by laughter. Tomorrow, I'd sign the papers that would start the countdown on their borrowed time. They wanted my building so badly, they could have it, for exactly 30 more days. The next 2 weeks were an exercise in restraint. I signed the papers with Logan, then went about my life as if nothing had changed. I smiled through family dinners, nodded at renovation plans, and bit my tongue when Talia's friends continued treating my property like their personal party venue. "The kitchen contractor needs your approval on these finishes," Mum announced one morning, spreading samples across my coffee table. "We're thinking marble countertops for Talia's unit." I said non-committally, signing the final closing documents hidden in my work folder. "Are you even listening? This is important." "Sorry, busy with work." I gestured at my laptop. "Big project," she huffed. "More important than family." I thought about the demolition permits Logan had already secured. "Nothing's more important than family, Mum." That seemed to satisfy her. She left the samples behind. "For when you're ready to focus on what matters." Later that day, Talia barged into my unit without knocking. "The contractor's asking about load-bearing walls. Can you call him?" "Sure," I said, knowing I never would. "Leave his number." "What's with you lately?" She narrowed her eyes. "You're being weird, like, too nice." "Just accepting the situation." I shrugged. She didn't look convinced, but left anyway. Through my window, I watched her meet up with friends in the driveway, all of them carrying overnight bags for what looked like another impromptu party. My phone buzzed. Logan. "Closing, completed, keys to your new condo ready next week." I'd already started secretly moving my important papers and irreplaceable items to a storage unit. The condo would be ready before the notices went out. Perfect timing. That weekend, Dad showed up with actual contractors to just look things over. I stayed in my unit, listening to them walk around upstairs, planning their changes to a building that technically wasn't mine anymore. "Stella," Dad called down, "come look at what we're thinking for the layout." I went upstairs, playing my part. The contractors had drawn lines on the walls, marking where they planned to knock them down. "We'll need permits," one of them said. I caught myself before saying those weren't my problem anymore. "Right, permits," I echoed. "Don't worry about that," Dad waved his hand. "My golf buddy knows people at the city office." If he only knew Logan had already secured every permit needed for the entire block. The next few days passed in a blur of family texts and renovation catalogues. Mum kept leaving paint samples in my mailbox. Talia sent endless Pinterest links for inspiration. I responded with just enough enthusiasm to avoid suspicion. "You're handling this well," Phoebe said over coffee. "Almost too well. They don't suspect anything?" They're too busy planning their takeover to notice I'm planning my escape. When do they find out? Management company delivers the notices next week. I'll be moved out the night before. Damn, she whispered. Cold. Colder than ambushing me at dinner? Colder than scheduling renovations on my property without asking? Just then, my phone lit up with a group text from Mum. Family, meeting tonight, bringing the contractor's estimate and timeline. Stella, please have your checkbook ready for the deposit. I showed Phoebe the message. See, they're still making plans for my money. What are you going to tell them tonight? Nothing. I'll say I forgot my checkbook. Make excuses. In a few days, it won't matter anyway. That evening, I sat through another family dinner, another round of renovation plans, another lecture about family obligations. I watched them pass around paint swatches and cabinet samples like they were planning a simple remodel instead of a hostile takeover. The contractor needs the deposit by Friday, Dad announced. 10,000 to start. Friday? I took a sip of wine to hide my smile. Sure, I can do Friday. Mom beamed. See? I told you she'd come around. This is what family does. We support each other. Talia reached over and squeezed my hand. Thanks, sis. I promise I'll make it beautiful. I squeezed back, knowing that by Friday, the management company's notices would already be posted. The demolition crew would already be scheduled. My phone vibrated. Logan again. Final walkthrough of your condo tomorrow at 9 a.m. Keys ready after. I excused myself to the bathroom and typed back, Perfect. Everything else on schedule? His response came quickly. Notices go out Thursday morning. Demolition team starts in 31 days. I returned to the table where my family was now discussing paint colours for Talia's soon-to-be renovated kitchen. Mom had actual tear sheets from design magazines spread across the table. What do you think about this shade for the cabinets? She asked. I smiled. Whatever you think is best, Mom. Whatever you think is best. Thursday morning, I woke up in my new condo, surrounded by boxes. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see the city coming to life. My phone was already buzzing. The management company just posted something on our doors, Talia texted. What's going on? I didn't respond. Instead, I made coffee and waited. 3 minutes later, my phone exploded. Mum, call me immediately. Dad, what the hell is this notice? Talia, 30 days? Are you kidding me? The doorbell rang. I checked the security camera, Mom and Dad looking livid. I pressed the intercom. Where are you? Mom demanded. The building's empty. I moved. You what? I'll meet you at the coffee shop around the corner in 20 minutes, I said calmly. We can talk there. The coffee shop was neutral territory, public enough to prevent a scene. I arrived first, choosing a table near the back. They stormed in minutes later, Talia trailing behind them, clutching the eviction notice. Explain this, Dad slapped the paper down. Some company claims they own the building? They do, I said, sipping my latte. I sold it. The silence that followed was deafening. You sold it? Mum's voice shook. Without telling us? Like how you planned renovations without telling me? That was different, Talia burst out. We're family. Family doesn't try to steal property, I said evenly. Family doesn't schedule contractors without permission. Family doesn't assume they can just take what someone else built. We weren't stealing, Mum's voice rose. We were trying to help both our daughters. By taking from one to give to the other. You can't do this, Dad leaned forward. We'll fight it. I'll call my lawyer friend. It's done, I cut him off. The sale closed last week. The demolition permits are approved. In 30 days, the building comes down with the rest of the block. Demolition? Talia went pale. They're tearing it down. Logan's building luxury apartments. The whole block is being redeveloped. Logan? Mom's eyes narrowed. The developer who tried to buy it last year? You've been planning this? No, you forced my hand. You thought you could bully me into giving up my property. Well, Congratulations, it's not my property anymore. Where are we supposed to go? Talia's voice cracked. All my stuff is there. You have 30 days to figure it out, just like any other tenant. Tenant? Mum slammed her hand on the table. She's your sister. My sister, who never signed a lease. My sister, who threw parties every weekend. My sister, who let her friends take over my parking spots. My sister, who decided my investment property was her personal playground. We were going to pay you for it, Dad protested. No, you were going to undervalue my property and strong-arm me into a below-market sale. Well, guess what? I got full market value. Actually, I got above market value. Talia started crying. Mum rushed to comfort her while Dad pulled out his phone. I'm calling the lawyer right now. This can't be legal. It's completely legal, I stood up. Check the property records. Call the management company. Hell, call Logan himself. It's done. You do this to your own family? Mum's voice dripped with venom. You did this. All of you. You thought you could take advantage of me because I'm boring Stella who always gives in. Not anymore. Where are you even living? Talia asked between sobs. Somewhere none of you have keys to. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. Behind me, I could hear Mum starting to cry, Dad arguing with someone on the phone, and Talia wailing about her furniture. One more thing, I turned back. Mum, move your car from the tenant spot. It's not your building anymore either. Outside, my phone started ringing immediately. I declined the calls one by one. Mum, Dad, Talia, Mum again, Talia again. A text from Phoebe popped up. How did it go? Before I could respond, another message appeared. From Logan. Management company reports notice delivery completed. Demolition team confirmed for day 31. Need anything else? I looked back at the coffee shop window. My family was huddled together, probably plotting their next move. But there was nothing they could do. No lawyers to call, no strings to pull, no guilt trips to lay. No, I typed back to Logan. Everything's perfect. I walked to my car, ignoring the growing stream of texts and calls. In my rearview mirror, I could see them emerging from the coffee shop, looking shell-shocked and angry. They wanted my building so badly. Well, now they could watch it come down brick by brick. The next week was a war of attrition. My family cycled through every manipulation tactic they knew. First came the guilt trips. Mum left sobbing voicemails. How could you do this to your sister? To your family? Where did we go wrong, raising you? Then the threats. Dad's messages got increasingly aggressive. Our lawyer says we can prove family agreement. You'll regret this, Stella. Finally, the bargaining. Talia tried sweet-talking. Come on, sis, we can work this out. What if we pay more? What if we... I blocked them all. But on day 8, they ambushed me outside my office. We know where you work, at least, Mum said triumphantly as I exited the building. They formed a semicircle, blocking my path to the parking garage. What do you want? To talk sense into you? Dad stepped forward. We've been in touch with Logan. That got my attention. What? He won't budge on the sale, Talia sniffed. Says it's ironclad. Of course it is. But he told us how much you got for it. Dad's voice was accusatory. You made a fortune, and you're just leaving your sister homeless. She's not homeless. She has money. She can rent somewhere else. It's not the same, Talia wailed. Yet that was supposed to be my home. No, it was supposed to be my investment, my future, my choice. Well, your choice has destroyed this family, Mum declared dramatically. I hope you're happy in your fancy new condo, while your sister suffers. I felt something snap inside me. Suffers? I laughed. Like I suffered watching you all treat my property like a community playground? Like I suffered sitting through that ambush dinner where you planned to steal my building? Like I suffered every time you dismissed my hard work as boring while praising Talia for existing. We never, Mom started. You always. My whole life, everything I built was just a resource for Talia to use. Well, guess what? I built something so valuable, a developer paid premium price for it, and none of you get to benefit from it this time. My sister needs to grow up. She's 28. She cheated on her boyfriend, lost her free ride, and expected me to provide the next one. Not anymore. Is that what this is about? Talia's voice turned sharp. You're jealous because Brad loved me. Brad didn't love you. He funded you just like Mom and Dad fund you, just like you expected me to fund you. Find someone else to parasitize. How dare you? Mom stepped forward, hand raised. I caught her wrist before she could slap me. Don't ever try that. Security was watching us now. I released Mom's wrist and stepped back. The building is sold. The demolition is scheduled. You have 22 days to find new housing. Those are the facts. Accept them. You're dead to us, Dad said quietly. No daughter of mine would do this. No daughter of yours would stand up for herself, protect her investments, refuse to be exploited. Then I guess I never was your daughter. Stella, please, Talia tried one last time. Where am I supposed to go? Wherever you want, just not my property. Not anymore. I walked past them to my car. In my rearview mirror, I could see them standing there, looking lost and angry. Mum was crying again. Dad was on his phone, probably calling his useless lawyer friend. Talia was stamping her foot like a toddler. At home, I poured a glass of wine and watched the sunset from my new balcony. My phone buzzed with a text from Logan. Your family came by the office today, very upset, wanted to know if the sale could be reversed. And I told them what I told you last year. That block is prime real estate. The development is happening, with or without their approval. Another text arrived. This one from Phoebe. Your mum just posted a long Facebook rant about ungrateful daughters and family betrayal. I opened Facebook to find I'd been unfriended by my entire family. Their posts were full of vague accusations about greed and betrayal, garnering sympathetic comments from relatives who didn't know the whole story. Fine by me. My phone buzzed again. An unknown number. This is Margaret from the management company. Your sister is refusing to allow the inspector entry for the pre-demolition assessment. I forwarded the message to Logan, who responded immediately. On it. We'll get a court order if necessary. Nothing stops this development. I blocked the unknown number and walked to my window. From here, I could just barely see my old building in the distance. Soon, it would be gone, and with it, all the expectations and obligations that had weighed me down. They thought they could break me. Instead, I broke free. The demolition crew arrived at dawn. I watched from across the street as they set up their equipment, marking off areas with yellow tape. A small crowd had gathered, mostly curious neighbours, but I spotted my family among them. Talia had moved out yesterday, leaving behind a mess of damaged walls and stained carpets. Mom and Dad had helped her, shooting dark looks at the security cameras Logan had installed after their attempts to delay the inspection. Ready for this? Phoebe appeared beside me with 2 coffee cups. More than ready. A sleek car pulled up and Logan stepped out carrying blueprints. He noticed me and walked over. Quite the audience, he said, nodding toward my family. Your sister tried to get an emergency injunction yesterday. Judge threw it out in 10 minutes. Of course she did. Final inspection's done. Place is clear. We start in 30 minutes. Mom broke away from the group and marched toward us. Stella, are you really going to stand there and watch this? Yes, actually, I am. All her furniture's gone, Phoebe muttered. Guess they finally accepted it was happening? They had no choice. Logan checked his watch. Sheriff's Department made that clear when they tried to chain themselves to the door last week. Mom reached us, face red. That building was meant for family. No, I said calmly. It was meant for investment. And that's exactly what I did with it. By destroying it? By selling it at peak value to a developer who saw its actual worth, not its value as a free ride for Talia. The demolition foreman approached Logan. "We're ready when you are, sir." Mum grabbed my arm. "Stop this, please. We can still work something out." I gently removed her hand. "It's done, Mum. Go stand with Dad and Talia. You'll want to watch this." She walked back, defeated. Talia was crying again, clutching Dad's arm. Several of her friends stood nearby, filming on their phones, probably for some dramatic social media post about family betrayal. The machine roared to life. Logan gave the signal. The first swing of the wrecking ball felt like freedom. Brick and mortar crumbled. Dust filled the air. My family huddled together, watching their plans collapse along with the walls. "Holy shit," Phoebe whispered. "You actually did it." "Yes," I smiled. "I did." My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Amanda from Logan's office. The investors loved your proposal for the new retail space. They'd like to meet next week." I showed Logan the message. He grinned. "Told you they would. You've got good instincts for development. Want to come see the other sites after this?" "She's working with you." Mum had come back overhearing. "After what you did to our family home." "It was never your family home," I said firmly. "It was my stepping stone, and now it's opening doors to bigger opportunities." Another crash, another wall down. Talia screamed something incoherent and ran to her car. "You've lost a daughter," Mum declared. "I hope you're happy with your business deals instead of family." "I didn't lose a daughter, Mum. You lost one, the one who worked hard, made smart investments, and refused to be taken advantage of. Your choice." She stormed off. Dad wouldn't even look at me. Their cars peeled away one by one, leaving tire marks on the pavement. "Good riddance," Phoebe said. Logan checked his blueprints again. The new building will be 15 stories, premium apartments, ground floor retail. Want to see where your investment office could go? I watched the last wall fall, taking with it years of family expectations and obligations. "Show me." We walked through the dust toward his car, leaving behind the rubble of my old life. My phone kept buzzing with messages from flying monkeys. Distant relatives and family friends telling me how cruel I was, how family should come first, how I'd regret this. I blocked them all. "Ready to see your future?" Logan opened the car door. I looked back one last time at the pile of bricks that used to be my prison. The dust was settling, revealing clear sky above. "They thought they were building their future on my foundation," I said, sliding into the car. "But I wasn't the one who got evicted. I got free." Phoebe raised her coffee cup in salute. "To freedom. To consequences," I corrected her, watching the demolition crew begin clearing the site. "And to building something new." Logan spread the blueprints across the car's hood. "Speaking of building something new, let's go see where you're going to help us reshape this city." I smiled, leaving the dust and drama behind. They wanted my building so badly? They could have the rubble. I had bigger things to build,